the recording.
Six still to come.
6 still to come. But in the meantime, welcome everybody. Welcome to Effective Camera Trapping, delivered to you by Ambios Limited. My name's Simon Roper, one of the Ambios team. You can see Fraser also online today. And this is the first Zoom meeting, week 1 of our 6 weeks distance learning course. Very excited to be back again with another team to bring through to effective camera trapping. Very exciting. And of course, this course also has the option to potentially to go and continue practicing camera trapping with one of our European partners on the Erasmus Plus program. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as the weeks go on. We're obviously in a very dynamic situation because of things around COVID, as we're all aware. But at least the fact that you've done this course means that option is open to you. Should we be able to make the travel work, and should you wish to go. Further details are available on the web page. If you pop back onto the web page, you'll be able to see the Hungarian option and the Portuguese option. You do need to complete the little online questionnaire there for us, which is also on the web page, which just allows you to give preferences for dates and also for country, so that we can just try and achieve the matrix of people that want to go to the different countries and the different dates, and we'll do the best we can. More on that a lot later in the course. Firstly, it's to welcome you and to make sure everybody's got their camera. I guess we should have a quick thumbs up, if that's possible, on the reactions. Bottom of the screen, you'll see, if you move your cursor down, there's a thing called reactions. That's it, and we can have a thumbs up. Everybody's got their cameras, hopefully. Holly? Camera arrive okay? Reactions is down the bottom. Hopefully, if not, then you can always drop a thing into chat. But hopefully everybody's got their cameras and had a chance to start to explore. And so this evening we just wanted to introduce ourselves and to just touch base with this first set of learning materials, week 1 learning materials. And give you a heads up on week 2. So I think it's fair to say that Fraser and I have been involved with camera traps almost since they first became available here in the UK, when they were really big, heavy things, a bit like mobile phones used to be. You needed at least 2 hands to carry them, and a substantial bank account just to put the batteries in. And they were amazing machines. And of course, technology has shot on so far since then. I hesitate to think how many years ago that was, Fraser. I can't quite remember, but I think
long time
ago. And it was back in the day. The first camera trap that we had was a Reconyx. It was a very expensive machine, which I lent to Fraser, and he will no doubt later tell you the story about how he handed it back to me very wet. Or it nearly got very wet. So we've been camera trapping for some years. My background is badgers and badger ecology. I'm particularly interested in trying to capture mammal images. That's what I try and do as best I can. Yeah, we just want to share our experience with you. And this is a co-adventure. So we're learning as we go along, and we want to create a community. You're now becoming a community of learners, and we can learn from each other and go forward. And keep a solution focus. So when we come up against challenges, then we like to share responses to those challenges to see how best we can work our way through. So that's me. So I'll hand over to Fraser to take us through the next bit. Off you go then, Fraser.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I suppose we should have checked whether you can actually all hear us. The fact that you've nearly all responded to the question, did you get your camera, is evidence of that. I'm just a bit concerned about Holly. Can you hear us, Holly? Can you find the reactions button at the bottom and give us a thumbs up? Or even a round of applause? Okay, while you're finding that, one other question. Lorena, your name's not on the list. Does that mean you've signed in with somebody else's account? And if so, I wonder who you are.
Oh. I hadn't spotted that.
Just to keep. Yeah, sorry. Okay, who are you?
Right. Hello.
Give us a clue. Oh, hello. Right. Okay. Right. That makes sense.
Brilliant.
Good. Excellent.
Perfect
Thanks
sense.
for that.
Excellent. Okay, that's good.
Okay, so as you will have all seen from that little exercise, if anyone is not familiar with Zoom, you can actually go into chat, and it gives you the option to type something so that we can answer your questions if you have any as you go along. Right, okay, so let's recap over what's happened so far. Introductions, you've mostly all found those. Thanks for that. You will have seen, of course, that a large proportion of you are students at Reese Heath, and a few of you are elsewhere in the country. So you've all got your cameras. Do note, it might be too late to be reiterating this, but do note that we ask or recommend that you keep hold of the packaging. Because you will, of course, be sending them back at the end of the course. Certainly the box, but even the packaging the box came in can make life a little easier for you when it comes to sending them back at the end. So just be aware of that one if you haven't thrown it away already. So what have we seen so far? In the materials that you've worked through on the virtual learning environment, you should have had a look at camera trapping basics, and some slides showing you the parts of the camera just to find your way around the camera. And then two activities. The first activity is was rather to take the SD card out of the camera, put it into your computer and have a look and see what images were on there. Now, as we've explained, those images are absolutely raw data from camera trapping, I think last spring, not quite a year ago. The only thing I did was I removed a few images of the owner's son who managed to peer into one of the cameras, but otherwise you've got absolutely raw data there. So it shows you the good, the bad, and the absolutely dreadful. That is pretty much how it goes with camera trapping. You'll be seeing a lot of this as you go along. You do get what we call false triggers. You do get poor images for various reasons. And of course you get those real gems that make it all worthwhile. So we asked you to have a look and see how many species there were. Some of you have said 10. I think it's 10. Yeah, most of you have got that. And then the next activity was to set the camera going in your house to perhaps get images of whoever happens to be passing by, or in some cases pets. Have you, most of you, managed to have a go at that? Have most of you got some images? Give me some reactions. Any joy with that at all? Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Brilliant. So you've at least got the thing to work, most of you at least. If any of you do have any specific problems and haven't managed to get the camera to work, then do either ask now if you think it's a question we can answer quickly, or send us an email or post something on the virtual learning environment. There's plenty of ways of contacting us, and we can give you feedback and advice if things are not going perhaps the way they ought to. So do let us know rather than just to rather sit and suffer, as it were. So there we go. Oh yeah, someone giving you directions to the reactions button at the bottom. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Good. Okay. Another thing that we mentioned in that first set of out-of-the-box activities, the last thing I think, was we give you a sort of a heads up to begin to seek access permission for a site which you will be using later on in the course. We know it can sometimes take a little while to get permissions to use sites, whether they be nature reserves or bits of neighboring farmland or whatever. So it's something that we urge you to get cracking on now. Some of you at Reese Heath might just be intending to put cameras around the campus. I don't know, it's up to you. But if you think you want to access a particular site that you don't already have permission to get onto, then do start to look for that access permission now, finding out who owns it, and specifically getting permission for camera trapping, not just for access. Okay.
Yeah, Froze, can I just come in there and just ask people again, using the reaction or in chat, just to get a sense of who's using a camera for the first time, and who actually has had a play around with cameras before. So if you're using camera for the first time, either in the chat or in the thumbs up, is this your first encounter with cameras? Let's just see. Yeah, okay, a couple of you. And others then, I assume, have used cameras before in some capacity or another. Okay, that's great, brilliant.
Good, okay. Thanks for that.
Yep, brilliant.
And then the week 1 materials, which, oh dear, I've gotten confused. Simon, we have launched the week 1 stuff.
Yeah,
yes, of course we have.
We're in week 1. Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's a time warp.
It's only 6 weeks, folks, and I'm confused already. Oh dear. Right. Okay. So, yes, things in under week 1. So you should have had a look at rules and regulations, which gives you a few important pointers as to the rights and wrongs of what you might be doing and how to go about camera trapping, at least in legal terms. And then a video showing you me setting up various cameras in my garden. So there was that. And then we asked you to put a camera out in your garden. That's something to do this week if you haven't already. Or if you haven't got a garden, other lands that you have access to nearby. Another thing we've asked you to do is to take a photo of the camera in situ. Now, this is something that crops up a lot. It's very useful for us when giving you feedback to see not only the images that your camera trap is taking, but a photograph taken perhaps with your phone or with another camera of the camera trap in situ, in the place where you have set it up. This helps us to compare the sort of sites that people are locating their cameras and to give you feedback on what works and what doesn't, and basically to try to point you in the right direction on these things. Then most weeks when we ask you to put cameras out under whatever circumstances or whichever locations, we are then asking you to share the results from that exercise by posting images the following week. So that's why we have nothing to show this week, but next week and subsequent weeks, we will have images from each of you, hopefully, to discuss and to, again, hopefully to continue to steer you all in the right direction, celebrate successes, and discuss improvements and so on.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Fraser. I think it's a key point, and just picking up on something that Dan's just been saying in the chat about not having the chance to start. That's okay. Don't worry. There's no pressure from us in terms of the speed at which you go. We've paced it, as Fraser's just said, so that you have a week to collect some material, and then normally then on the following Monday you can then upload some of that material and we can start to discuss it. Don't worry if if for other reasons you're not able to do that quite in sync. That's okay. Take it in your own time. It's fine, and you can catch up as and when is convenient. The course is designed to be flexible. The material's all sitting there waiting. It gets automatically released on Monday of each week as we go through, so that and that will be there for you to have a look through if you look back on if you need to. So please don't worry about having to keep up. If other things come in and disturb your timetable, that's absolutely fine. What we're trying to do, there's certain key points which we would encourage you to focus on as we go through, and we'll highlight those as we come through. So in about week 3, week 2, week 3, we're going to ask you to do, for argument's sake, a map of the site to show where you've put a camera trap and where some tracks and signs might be. So that's a kind of key moment in the 6 weeks. And so things like that we'll highlight as we go along. But please don't. The object of all this, we've got enough stress going on in our lives as it is at the moment with other things happening. This course is designed, we hope, not to be stressful. We're trying to alleviate all that. Take it at your own pace, and we look forward to seeing the results, whatever they may be. Every result is a bit of learning. So even if it turns out to be blurred because it's raining, can't see anything because it's misty, all these things are really great for discussion, and we learn from them every time. You know, I put a camera out just the other night, and I can't see a thing. It's just got completely fogged up because I put it right on the ground, and you know, actually put it in the zone where.
Oh, that's a rookie mistake.
Exactly, absolutely. So it happened again. You know, so so there we go. You know, wasn't thinking properly. So it's all learning, and it's all really great learning. So so don't worry. And you know, what we hope is that you'll be able to find a site that brings out a surprise. And you know, we are constantly surprised about what our camera traps produce. So very, very exciting. That's the exciting bit, really. So it's fine. So yeah.
There is one other thing not to stress about, and that is if you don't manage to make it to these Wednesday evening meetings. It's obviously nice to attend live, but if you can't make it for whatever reason, each of these meetings is being recorded. So you can still access whatever information comes out of these meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, one of the things that I've been doing, or will be doing every week, is I'm also putting cameras out. I'm putting cameras out at the same times that you are. What I've done is I've put cameras out for the week up until yesterday. So I've got some images to share with you. I'll give you highlights of what I managed to find every week and lowlights, because that's what we get. Let's try and keep it real. We get good images and bad images. So if I can share these with you now, if I can remember how to do this.
See if we can get this technology to work.
Yeah. Okay. So with any luck, you should be able to see an image.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had a number of cameras out. Now, one or two of these cameras haven't produced very much, and some of them have produced something. So here I was hoping for otters using this shingle bank on the stream. But as you can see, I've got a few pictures of foxes, this one, and so on. Not very much else in this case. It's a pretty quiet time of the year. A lot of animals aren't particularly active. As I say, I was hoping for otters, but not this time. Moving on. I found a gate that animals were pushing under, and I put some bait on the gate. I've got some sticky, smelly stuff that I smear on the gate. More about that in later weeks. But so I smeared this stuff on the gate, and the badger showed a lot of interest. However, that was only the highlight. To get, I think, 4 pictures of a badger, I got, there's another one. And again. And again. Yeah. Oops, that's gone wrong on me. That's not showing you what I hoped it would. Let me try again. You should be, can you see me now?
Yeah, we're back to, yeah.
Okay, let me try again.
Okay.
Here we go. Can you see that?
We can see bottom of the gate.
Yep. Okay. Can you see the mouse?
Oh, there's a challenge. Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if can you see my cursor?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
There's the mouse.
Nice.
So to get 4 pictures of badger, I got in excess of 1,600 pictures of mice.
Brilliant.
Because the mice found the bait, and they were scoffing more of it than the badger did.
Wow.
So yeah, more than 1,600 images of wood mice over the course of 7 nights. So there we go. We have to put up with a lot of rubbish images as well as the good stuff. Okay, last camera, several images to show you on this one. This one took about 400 or 500 images. I can't remember exactly. Most of which, as you can see, were squirrels. So over 400 pictures of grey squirrels. Not particularly exciting. Most of them, incidentally, were like this. You see that grey blur just there? Yeah, nearly 400 pictures of a grey blur. Squirrels are very fast moving far too fast for this particular camera. So we got a lot of that. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a mouse.
Yes.
We also got a fair few pictures of mice. So I was going through this earlier today and sort of starting to despair, thinking, oh dear, I thought this was a good location, but it turns out it wasn't. Got a fox just passing through quite quickly. So not a complete disaster. And then I got lots of these sort of images, very foggy, a lot of dew on the lens. I too made the rookie mistake of putting the camera too low down, so that on those dewy mornings, it was getting dew all over the lens of the camera, making these foggy images. There is a squirrel just there. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's jumped onto the wrong picture for some reason. I'll start again. So what happened next, as I was sort of beginning to lose hope with this particular set of images, was, sorry about this. Can you see that?
Yep, we can see the top half of the image. Oh, yes.
Hello?
Yep.
Can you see the bird?
Bird of prey, possibly?
Yeah. I don't know if we've got any birders amongst the students.
Oh, there we go.
So there's the bird. And that is a pheasant.
Oh, wow.
So if you can think how big a pheasant is, a female pheasant in this case, that is a juvenile goshawk. Oh,
wow.
I didn't even know there were goshawks at this site. I mean, it's an incredibly rare bird of prey around here.
Okay.
So there we go. Lots of dreadful images of squirrels, a few half-decent images of foxes, and then all of a sudden this crops up. I've actually got about 30 images of this goshawk catching and subduing this pheasant and then proceeding to pluck it.
Okay. And Fraser, it's a goshawk. It's got a very dark tail.
There's another one just there, look. Can you see that one?
Image hasn't changed at my end at the moment. That's okay, don't worry.
Okay.
Just going back to the why it's a goshawk.
Okay. It's like a very, very big sparrowhawk, basically. Differences are it's big and bulky. Can you see the white eye stripe here? Yeah. Which sparrowhawks do have, but not to that extent. It's mostly the size. It's like a sparrowhawk on steroids. The fact that this is a pheasant means that this must be a very big bird. Right. And a very dark tail. Yep. Is that also diagnostic? Okay. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. I was absolutely gobsmacked. Yeah. So much so I immediately emailed them off to get them verified, as it were. Right. So these images are presently winging their way around various bird watching experts in Devon just to confirm that it is a goshawk, as I've already had a few people confirm. Okay, great. So that's a new record for the site. It is, yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Wow. I do remember the farmer mentioning years ago, oh yes, we occasionally get goshawks here, but to be fair, I dismissed it as very, very unlikely, but there we go. I mean, you think of the chances that it's actually made the kill almost dead center camera position. I know. Yeah. You know, you couldn't have called it, really. Absolutely insane. The luck that's involved in some of these. Yeah, things. That is incredible. Yeah. Fantastic. Brilliant. There was one more. That one, I think. Or is that the same one? I think it's the same one. Sorry. It's the excitement. It's the excitement. I know. I'm overwhelmed. Absolutely overwhelmed. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. Great. Never mind. There we go. Fantastic. Wonderful. That's really great. Okay, so that shows you how sometimes it works spectacularly well, sometimes absolutely dreadful. 1,600 pictures of a wood mouse. Yeah. But there we are. Sometimes it comes good. You will be finding all of this happens to you. You will get false triggers. You'll get foggy pictures where there's water on the lens. you'll get images of an animal's tail where it has gone so rapidly across the picture that all you've got is its tail. You'll get blurry images where the camera hasn't frozen the motion, and then you'll get some that you're really chuffed with. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Fantastic. Yeah, Kev's just making the point that it does highlight the value of remote camera technology, and this is very true when you get a new species for a particular site.
Absolutely.
And also we'll be going into this a little bit more as we go into the weeks about survey techniques as well, and how we can best use.
I mean, on that point, this is a site that I visit several times a week. I have visited several times a week for years. I walk my dogs there. I'm there all the time. I go bird ringing there, and so on and so on. The farmers, the farmer and his wife who run the place, they're very keen on wildlife as well. So it's a very well recorded site. And I'm not aware, other than a chance comment of a few years ago, that was more of a sort of a casual thing. I'm not aware of any records of goshawk until now.
Yeah.
Similarly, until fairly recently, we had no records of polecat, and now we do through camera trapping. Also, the same site, we had no records of mandarin duck breeding. Last summer, we got camera trap images of mandarin ducks with ducklings, so we now know they breed there. So yes, as Kev says, the value of this kind of technology is in revealing things that even on well-studied sites, we apparently are unable to detect. So yeah, it's powerful stuff. It's really good technology.
Yeah, fantastic. Excellent stuff. So just thinking about if anybody has any questions, by the way, about getting going with the course or about the camera at the moment, or anything else, then do by all means pop it in the chat, or for those that are watching this on repeat, drop us an email, and you can do that through the VLE. So if you have any questions, then as Fraser said, we're around and we're here to help. And so if you do have anything, then yeah, come to us with that. We'll do our best to help out. Anything else, Fraser, from your side of things?
Yeah, as you post your feedback where there's the chat icon on the virtual learning environment, we will be monitoring those and we will be providing feedback. Now, of course, that's only worth us doing if you subsequently go back and have a look.
Oh yeah, good point.
So the VLE has this chat facility where we're asking you sometimes to upload images or upload maps that you've made and so on. Sometimes people will, when they're doing that, they will ask a question. And so we will then go into that and provide the answer to that question, if we know the answer. So do please recheck those through the week if you get the opportunity, as particularly if you've asked a question, the answer might suddenly pop up before you. But it's only worth doing, of course, if you go back and check.
Sam's just asking a question about whether you can put the cameras out in the rain.
Yes.
So that's a really good question.
Yes.
Yes.
These cameras are fully weatherproof. It's one of the things that comes up in, I forget which page of which week, but yes, they're not waterproof. They are weatherproof. Simon mentioned earlier that he lent me the very first camera trap he ever acquired, which is a very expensive Reconyx camera, about £600 worth. And I was working on a partially tidal nature reserve at the time. And I wanted to get pictures of what I assumed were otters using a tidal creek. So I waited until the tide was going to be only a fairly small tide, and I set the camera up. Unfortunately, there was a tidal surge due to weather conditions out in the English Channel, and the camera got flooded. And I didn't own up for months. But yeah, the camera was okay. I was very lucky. I have another one, this camera here, one of my lovely Spy Point cameras that I really like using. This one got flooded by a flash flood on a river, and it hasn't worked since. So it is weatherproof. This camera was out for years before that event, with rain, snow, hail, and all the rest of it. No problems at all. But as soon as it was actually immersed in water, when the river flooded, it stopped working and hasn't worked since. Okay.
So good to go in the rain, and they are quite robust. And you know, they might get very, very wet. I put my camera out the other day, and actually this one has had an altercation with our puppy. You can probably see here, a puppy Labrador who decided to break the door on it. So this is one I put out the other day in the rain, and actually took it in, and it was very wet. It has now dried out, and it's fine. And it was collecting photos, albeit a bit misty.
Normally, we don't condone the mixture of cameras and puppies.
Puppies, not a good plan. Yeah,
No.
not a good plan.
This one, which is why you'll see why it's my demo one. This one has been attacked by a woodpecker. Can you see on the sensor here where it's all been pierced?
Yeah.
That was a woodpecker who managed to photograph himself in the act of destroying a very expensive camera.
Oops.
So yeah, these things happen.
Yeah. So yes, it's okay. Stick it out, and if it rains, it's fine. Just bring it back.
Do watch out for tidal sites or rivers that might flood.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, so any other questions this evening as we start to sort of think about wrapping up? It's going to be same time, same place next week. Now, there is in week 4, what we normally try and do is to actually do a bit of an outside broadcast, come to you from a remote location. And we normally do that, we have done it in the past, onto Facebook Live. Little Facebook group that we've set up, a community of interest, which you can also join, of past trainees who've been on this course, who are also up for sharing their experiences as well. We've got a little bit of an issue at the moment, obviously, concerning social distancing and permission to travel, etc.
There is another issue.
And there is, yes, indeed.
Another issue, which is that normally when we do this, there's still daylight at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yes. That's the big issue. So we're working on a plan, and we'll let you know, because it's week 4. So we've got a little bit. So we'll have to see whether or not we're allowed to get together. This evening, Fraser and I are talking to you from 2 very different locations in Devon, about 30 odd miles apart, which is sort of how Ambios tends to operate. We'll see if we can get together. It takes 2 of us to do it because of the technology, and because of what we want to talk to you about. So we'll just have a think about that and think about the practicalities. We may do something live. It'll all be recorded anyway onto the Facebook group. So we'll have to think about that and get back to you. But it's not until week 4. Otherwise, same time, same place, you know, over the 6 weeks, and an opportunity to discuss stuff and for us to feedback.
Question from Emily.
Yeah.
Hi, I live in the city, and of course there's a lot of restrictions at the moment. Indeed. I'm just worried about not being able to set up in a good location. Any advice?
Okay. Do you have a garden at all, or an outside space? General question really, but do you have an outside space, garden, allotments, somewhere where you might be able to put the camera safely? Emily, can you give us a thumbs up if you got a outside garden space at all? Because that's a great place to start.
There's no thumb up. I don't
There's
think
no thumb up, so probably not. Okay, that's okay. Oh, okay. There's a hedge. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, that's okay. So you've got a hedge, and you've got some birds active in the hedge. If you feel that's a secure location, that would be a good one to try. There may be some challenges about where and how to mount the camera around that, I'm guessing. Don't know, but
it goes both ways. I mean, it's an interesting point about birds, actually. We do see so many camera trap images of mammals, because mammals are hard to observe. So camera trapping is a natural sort of go-to resource for mammalogists. But we don't tend to see that many pictures of birds, and there's no good reason for that. Birds are great subjects for camera trapping. Great advantage with birds is that they're much easier to bait, particularly in an urban situation. So Emily, yes, if you have a hedge with birds, maybe try putting a bird feeder there, put a camera on that, you'll get some success that way, I'm sure.
If you had somebody with a garden that you might be able to access when they're not around, so if they're in the house, but you could get into the garden, it's another possibility, particularly for urban wildlife, quite interesting.
A friend who's happy for you to invade their garden when they're not there, to put up a camera. That would work.
The other sort of notch up from that would be whether or not there are any other local authority sites managed by rangers or local authority staff who might be happy for you to put a camera in a location. And that may be worth an approach. I think if you try the hedgerow idea, try the bird idea, try the friend with a garden, and you know, if none of those you think are not going to work or going to be problematic, drop us an email, and we can kind of talk you through. Or email about taking it up a notch, as it were, where there's any local authorities. If we know a little bit more detail about your circumstance, your geographic location, we may be able to help. Don't know, may know people locally, or be able to put you in touch with people. So keep us in the loop, keep it working forward. This week and next week is about doing it quite close to where you are, so in your garden, in your locality, so you can get to know the camera and get to know the camera menus a bit before we go a bit further afield. So see how it goes. The hedgerow and the birds, as Fraser said, baiting the birds, possibly a good place to start. Yeah.
Another classic urban opportunity is cemeteries. If you know, if you have a decent old cemetery near you, you can find corners of cemeteries that are just no longer visited because the people that are buried there have been there so long they've no longer got relatives visiting them. Sounds a bit macabre, but anyway, yes, they make great locations sometimes for camera trapping. Lots of wildlife there, but you need permission perhaps from the church authorities or whatever. Try that one maybe.
Yeah. And thanks for that, Kev, because that's an important point about there are certain places where access is restricted, maybe university campus or maybe other local authority sites where accessing. Do need to be aware of that given the current circumstances. Thanks for sharing that. That's really useful. And yeah, again, we'll just see how the situation unfolds over the coming weeks. But I think if you can think about safety all the time, safe places to do it. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you, team. Is that everything, Fraser?
Yeah, that's everything I wanted to cover. Okay, as we go into the next week, setting your camera up, as we've said several times, and just a reminder, any problems at all, don't just sort of sit and suffer. Don't become confused unnecessarily. Do send us an email. Do contact us by any of the other methods, and we'll try and get you moving along as quickly as possible.
Okay, here we go to finish up. This is taken on a Reconyx camera in my garden here in Mid Devon. Happens to be taken just after 2 a.m. on Christmas Day. And I was suspicious there might be a fox around. Let's see if we can get it to play. This is a short video. We're going to be playing with video, I think, in week 3. For now, we're asking you just to stick to stills. This is very fast. Let's see if it plays across your screen. Bit grainy. So fox walking across. Nice view. It goes again. Really great. And some of the things that we'll be talking about when we start to get images and start to share things is actually having a look at those images more closely and just getting a feel for what else we can draw out of those images. So I noticed that when Fraser was showing an image of the badger, that was most likely an adult badger, had quite a long tail. So there's little other cues that we can come in. You saw the fox there. There's a fox in pretty good condition, no sign of mange. So again, another interesting. So there's other little bits of information that we can draw out of these visuals, and we'll be exploring those with you as we go along. Okay, just checking that there's no other messages. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so fantastic. Thank you, folks, for your time this evening. Really good to see you. We'll put this recording up on YouTube so you can refer back to it, and those that couldn't make it tonight can also have a look. And we'll be in the virtual learning environment as we go through the next few days. We look forward to seeing your results, the first of your results on Monday next. That'll be very exciting. And in the meantime, if there are any questions, do drop us a line. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. And we'll send the link out in the chat.
One other thing I've just thought of.
Yeah, go.
Particularly perhaps for Reese Heath students, if you're in touch with any of the 6 people who couldn't make it this evening, it may be that they would benefit from a few pointers as to how to navigate their way onto this Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not here because they couldn't make it, or maybe they're not here because they couldn't make it work for them on their computers. So if any of you are in touch with any of the other participants, then yeah, if you could point them in the right direction if necessary, that would be great.
Really fantastic, really great. And there's a great question just coming from Sam, really good question. How long do the batteries last in the cameras?
The official answer is ages, absolutely ages. On these cameras, it depends what you've got. Most of the cameras I've sent out have got alkaline batteries. Should be good for about 3 months at the sort of rate of photos that you're taking. With the lithium batteries, which some of them have, the new lithium batteries, you could be looking at 6 months, maybe 9 months. So long enough for this course anyway.
So the alkalines are the battery with the gold colored top, the Duracells, and the lithiums are these silver batteries. So these guys will last slightly longer, but they lose their power really rapidly. The Duracell alkaline batteries tend to lose their power rather more gently and don't quite last as long. But there is a big difference in price. So it depends. We are in the process of sort of transferring between battery types at the moment. So some cameras will have these lithium batteries and some may have the alkalines. But there should be enough power, we hope, for the duration of this course.
There's some discussion of battery types and all these kind of details. I forget on which page on which week, but that is there in some of the information on the VLE.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, brilliant. On that note, I think we'll wish you a good evening, and we'll see you next week. Brilliant. Excellent. Fantastic. Okay, thank you, team. Good to see you.
Bye. Oh, look, there's a round of applause.
Bye for now. There's a round. Oh, look. Hey.